Hello and welcome back to Design. We're finally meeting our first contractor in site. We're going to be going in action from site to site, going through all the stages you need to know about during these phases. We're done with our design, we're done with our strategies, and here we are. We're finally getting through the second phase. Welcome back. We're finally here in our action phase. We're in our first site, starting from the very scratch. With us, Engineer Yusuf. Hi, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
Would you give us a quick introduction about yourself?
I'm a manager partner of one construction company here in Kuwait. And this project here, one of our projects in Kuwait City. We are in this phase, as you see. Please.
So we would like to let our viewers know every stage and what you do exactly from taking on the project.
Yeah. When we take the project first, when we sign the contract with the owner, usually we start with the site preparation, offices, fences, according to Kuwait municipality regulations. After that, when we are having the approvals of the consultant and the owner of all the drawings, we start digging the ground in stages.
Right, so excavation doesn't happen all at once.
No, especially when we have a basement.
Right.
When you have a basement, usually in Kuwait City, you should have shoring. Shoring in order to make the other neighbors are safe and keep the integrity of the structure of the
Very
other
nice.
buildings.
All right.
So shoring is the first step when we have basements.
Right.
And this is what we done here.
So this is shoring, or I can see insulation at this stage,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure. After shoring, usually, we have what's called waterproofing. This waterproofing should be in the walls and on the ground before we pour any type of concrete.
So we often hear about dewatering. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, dewatering in Kuwait, we have usually in certain areas, the groundwater level is above the excavation level, above the foundation. So we have to get the water level down by dewatering this water in order to reach a dry sand, a dry soil to have our concrete works.
Very nice. So a lot of people don't really take this stage into consideration, right? Because you basically it depends on once you start excavation and you see it,
Yeah.
Correct? So does this have any effect on the timeline of the project in any way?
Usually the dewatering process takes about 2 weeks. We cannot do anything until the soil dries. But the dewatering process should stay up to maybe 3-4 months, up to when we reach a stage in the concrete structure that it is heavier than the uplift of the water level.
Wow, that's really interesting. We got some physics here. So basically you have to keep the water taking out until the weight of the building kind of like pushes it down.
Yes,
That's
sure,
really
sure,
nice.
sure, sure.
And what happens after that?
After these 2 weeks of dewatering, we can cast the plain concrete. Then we can start the waterproofing process, as you see here on the ground and on the walls.
A lot of people have fear when it comes to these stages, to the part where we start with the reinforcement with the concrete. How can we reassure our viewers that you don't have to worry? There are many people monitoring the thing?
Usually there is, as per Kuwait municipality regulation, there should be a consultant supervision.
Right.
This consultant supervision is reviewing and approving the shop drawing of steel. Then also check that the contractor is doing the steelworks as per the agreed drawings.
Very nice. So that's really reassuring that there are people monitoring and controlling the process.
Sure.
Right.
Should be.
Right. So don't be scared of contractors.
No, it's fine. And we usually taking care about also the timeline of the project. The timeline of the project, if the stakeholders, the parties that are contributing to the project, the consultant, the owner, and the contractor cooperate together, no, the project will be finished on the timeline.
Of course, because everybody should be at the same level, making sure everything happens right at the same time. The consultants got their drawings right. That's really nice.
Sure.
So a lot of people have this idea that once you start dealing with a contractor, the project is never going to end and you just got to wait and see and hope for the best. But is there such a thing as proper timeline?
No. Usually the proper timeline for these villas is about 12 to 16 months.
Right.
But 12 to 16 months with all the parties, as I said before, cooperating together to reach this timeline. For example, the contractor cannot do the work without drawings, so the drawings should be approved. The contractor cannot do the work if he hasn't the manpower, if the client doesn't have his input in the project.
Also
so
financially, if they don't pay.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a cooperation between all the parties to reach this timeline.
From a personal perspective, whenever there's residential buildings happening around my house and I hear construction noise from the early morning, I die. Can you tell us how can you mitigate and help around with the neighbors, especially with residential projects?
Well, we start contacting the neighbors. Most of the time the neighbors are cooperating with us. If we are facing some problems, we're trying to accommodate the working hours. Sometimes the client talk with the neighbors, but at the end, it's not, it is a problem, but it is solved.
Right. There you go. I guess you just gotta endure it for a couple of months and hopefully the work will be on time and they'll finish quick.
We hope, inshallah.
All right, next stage, we're gonna go into skeleton work.
Yes. A project for skeleton work, it's reaching about 50% of the concrete work.
Amazing. Stay tuned to check that out. Welcome back. We're here in our second stage and seeing the skeleton work. So now we're here on our second site, right? We finished our excavation, we finished all the above. Can you give us an idea where we are, what stage it's in?
Now, residential plot also in Kuwait City. The plot land is 400 meters square. The total built-up area, which is consisting of 3 floors, is about 850 meters square. Ground floor, first floor, and second floor. It's about 5 bedrooms area with a small swimming pool and also with the services.
Right, it's a cute little
and,
small house, let's say,
it's
compared to the rest.
Very beautiful house. Very beautiful house.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So now that we're in a skeleton work, we would like to tell our viewers where we got to from the first stage. So our first site was excavation, we finished it, now we're pouring the concrete, and here we are. Can you give them an idea on how we got to this stage?
Yeah, actually, when you got to this stage, you should first prepare, as I said in the first part, all the drawings related to the concrete works and the block works and well coordinated. Then we go also with the consultant supervision, pouring the foundations, slab on grade, ground floor, first floor. We
Slab
are
on
there.
grade. Can we stop there and
Yeah.
tell us what that is?
Oh, slab on grade is the bottom of the ground floor, where we can have all the finishes above it.
Very nice, very nice. So we got our slabs going, we got our columns going, and what goes also into the stage?
In this stage also we have the block works.
Right.
The block works, usually we have in the external wall thermal white block as per municipality regulations to have thermal protection of the house.
Right, so basically we often see two types of blocks, either the gray or the white. So now if you can give us an idea, the difference between the gray and the white.
Yeah. Usually we are putting the white in the external walls, as I told, in order to have better thermal protection of the house.
Right.
The internal walls, it's a block work. It's a cement block work.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
the gray one.
Yeah, the gray one is cement block works
Yeah.
with aggregates. Yeah.
So, but sometimes I hear that if you have stone on the facade, which this house does,
Yeah.
you would use a specific type, right?
Yeah, we use the cement blocks where we have stone.
'Cause-
Why? Because it needs mechanical fixation. Mechanical fixation with the white blocks. The white blocks is light. And
So it will just crumble,
Yeah,
let's say.
and we cannot fix the stones, the facade stone on.
Amazing. That's very informative
Yeah.
because many people get confused and like, should I get this? Should I get that? What do I do? So amazing. Next stage, which is also very crucial within this, I believe, is the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and preparation and piping for this.
Yeah. These should be well coordinated, I said before we start the concrete work. For example, if you want to look here in the beams, there are openings for the ducting.
I see.
Ducting of what? The AC ducting. AC ducting, usually from the first stages in the foundation, we agree on the contractor, AC contractor, to check the routing, where it goes from which room to which room, with the opening in the beams. It should be well studied in order structurally well.
Because to my understanding, this is enforcement. This is the core of the building, right? So if I create openings in it randomly, that would kind of compromise its integrity, right?
Sure, 100%.
So people cannot do this at random.
Yeah, no, sure.
Okay.
And also, for example, here, this is, for example, a drop in the slab for putting the pipes of the mechanical piping. It should be also well designed by structure in order to have the piping inside and not to have different level between the bathroom and the other rooms.
Right. So we notice often when there's bathrooms or rooms with water facilities into them, you prepare them by creating a deeper, let's say,
It's called drop in the slab.
a drop in the slab, so we make sure the piping doesn't compromise with the height.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
Because after that, we are putting foam concrete to fill, because foam is light concrete, not have a weight on the structure. Then we have the waterproofing system.
And is that when you do testing for the water?
Yeah, sure. After the waterproofing finished, before having the other, which is ceramic tiling,
Yes.
it should be tested for 48 hours, not to have any leakage,
Right.
any water leakage.
And you would notice the leakage happening on the floor below.
Sure. And we don't have it.
No? Ah, good job.
We don't have it. We don't have it.
Amazing. So another crucial issue that I feel is unspoken of and like people don't really address it is when it comes to safety. Safety on site. Many sites you go to, you see laborers with no safety shoes, no nothing, just with their flip-flops, doing their thing. Like, how can we raise awareness on this
Yeah,
topic?
we have two things. First is the personal protective safety equipment, which is the helmet and the goggles and the vests and the safety shoes. This should be, no one is allowed to enter the site even without these
Excuse
issues.
us.
You are our visitors. But laborers cannot work without these safety gear. And also the building itself, it should be wherever we have requirement for safety in order not to have any people, any injury, and also we have nets beside the.
Yeah, I've noticed. This is also for any like debris
anything
not to
doesn't
fall
drop
out.
onto the neighbors.
Okay, I'm sure because that won't make them very
No,
happy,
no,
right?
we are, يعني thanks God, no injuries.
Amazing.
We are doing this يعني for
How
the
many
last
years?
5 years, no injuries.
Amazing. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very good job. So, in order to conclude, let us revisit what we have done so far. First, we got started with the excavation phase, and now we're in the skeleton phase. And next up, we're going to be
in a house and also in Kuwait City where we have the finishes about 50%. You will see the plaster, the paint, the ceramic tiles, the marble, the waterproofing inside and on the roof. And you will see the finishes, the decoration, the false ceiling, all the activities finishes, about 50-60%.
Amazing. For an architect, this stage isn't the most fun part, but the next one is going to be where we're going to be having fun. Amazing.
We hope so.
Thank you so much. So, inshallah, next episode we'll be visiting the finishes stage, and that's when you actually start to see the space come to life.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode. My name is Hamid Al-Kulayb and we're going to talk plants today and utilization of our gardens. Part of designing any place is designing their indoor and outdoor spaces. And nothing makes outdoor spaces more beautiful than plants. Although we do live in the hottest country in the world, but as you can see, you can design your own garden to have beautiful tropical themes and make use of our beautiful sun that, although is extremely hot in certain months, does give us the benefit of the doubt for the rest of the year. One of the first things we have to remember on our gardens, especially if they're new, they need time to mature. Gardens are symbiont beings with the soil and with the birds and everything within the garden. And this is something that takes a couple of seasons to grow. So don't be let down if your garden doesn't look as lush as it should be in the first year. Choose the correct plants, which are pioneer plants. These are usually plants like Duranta or Cornocarbus erectus, Vitex agnea, and many others, very strong plants. Usually you see them in the main streets, planted for landscapes. These can grow in barren landscapes and only with water to create the basis for your garden, which in turn will then be added with other tropical plants like bananas, plumerias, and many others. So don't be let down if your garden is not as lush in the first year. It's a being that's being built, and it will, with enough tender love and care, you will get there in no time. There are many benefits to having gardens instead of having tiles in your backyard. Some of them are reducing the temperature due to the heat mitigation of the soil and your consistent watering. You will have a cooling effect that you can never get if you only have barren stone that actually turn into ovens, literally. So they keep the heat all day long and then give it to you at night. While in a garden, you have reflection of the heat and you will have a cool environment around you. That's not only beautiful, but also comfortable enough to actually go out in the middle of summer. Other effects of having natural elements around you, remind you of your innate attraction to the physical world of, or what they call biophilia. We will feel a sense of calm, just as if you were walking through a jungle, which has been translated in certain design principles, and they include having natural materials, water features, having animals around, or birds, having bird feeders, and making your garden an attraction for not only you, but for the flora and fauna of the urban environment will instill your days with joys of seeing beautiful things all year long. Not to mention that we all hear about carbon sequestration and global warming, and we all kind of in fear of what humanity is doing. One of the best ways to actually mitigate this is through plants and other flora and fauna that take the excess carbon in the air and return it back, giving us something green, beautiful that we can enjoy. So it is an environmental help more than an environmental cause, having a garden. Having gardens can reap benefits to whoever has them, depending on what he likes. Some gardens are a thing of beauty of different flowers. Some gardens are edible gardens. In Andalusian design principles, there were 7 gardens or 7 garden types within that school of thought. The spiritual garden, where we can go and relax and read something. We have the food garden, which is edible garden. We have also this, the medicinal garden. Any Latin name that ends in officinalis is usually used in the medicinal field. And prior to a couple of 100 years ago, our pharmacy was the jungle. Other things that you can use in your garden is utilize the space for gatherings, family gatherings, for barbecues, and they become a place of uniting the family members, not only under the beauty, but also on the work it takes to get there, which instills patience in kids and ethics of work and waiting until they can reap the gains of their. Given the little time we have to describe the amazing life of plants, I would recommend that you guys go to where you are located and walk around to the different gardens in your neighborhoods. You will start seeing plants that like it there. You will see gardens that have been taken care of in a way that suits your locale. So your best source of sourcing plants is the source that you are going to plant in. Think outside the box, go to the next street, the street after, ask. Gardeners love sharing their knowledge with anyone who asks, so do not be embarrassed to ask about what this tree is and who is doing your maintenance. Are you doing it? What is your feeding regimen? What's your watering schedule? This will help you build on the experience of your neighbors who have already started in something that you would love to do. After planting your initial garden, I want you all guys to remember that plants are living beings that need food constantly and all year long based on the season. Before spring, do feed them with high potassium and high phosphorus fertilizers, organic or non, to enhance their blooming phases, which starts in the spring. In the summer, usually when the extreme heat comes in, the plants are in dormancy. So watering them and keeping them alive is your best bet. Covering them to reduce the shocks would be even better. So you can have more in the fall when in Kuwait, in our fall at least, growth starts again, contrary to different falls in Europe where fall is a sign of the snow in the winter and its dormancy. So feeding your plants during grow phases is important, but whenever they stunt and they do not grow, that means that this is the time where you only water them and get them through that phase until they go into the next one. And this is a consistent thing you do year after year, so you can keep the growth you have and it continues to go up. Some plants actually thrive on being fed, other plants thrive on not being fed. This is something you will learn with experience, and the years will tell you exactly which trees will give you the best blooms and which foods go with what. Plants eat in different ways. We can feed them through liquid concentrates. This is buds and blooms 2, 8, and 4, which is the nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus of the content. And this is an organic humic biostimulant. They're added to water and fed only during sundown or sunrise. During the day, please stay away from feeding your plants, as they are transpiring during the day and they're working hard. So imagine that in the middle of your job, someone says, open your mouth and I feed you lunch, while you're actually working. So this is what correlates to plants. So during the day, please stay away from feeding and watering. Water only during sundown and sunup. In addition to being able to feed your plants with liquid concentrates, there's an easier, more convenient way, which will only let you water the plants, and then the juice of the dry minerals that you are putting will slowly disintegrate into the soil and create it. This is bat guano, and bat guano is excellent source for potassium and phosphorus, and for blooming plants. You have cow manure, organic cow manure, or any other kind of cold, composted plant food. As a rule of thumb, if you smell a very bad smell coming, that is not a composted plant food or manure. Usually it should smell like the rains of a jungle. It's a fresh smell. It's not a bad smell. So if you do smell anything that actually makes you cringe and maybe nauseated, stay away, because this is nature telling you that this is not good stuff. One of the easiest plants that you can grow and give your design a Mediterranean look. Like as we see the white buildings of Greece always break color with the pink of the bougainvillea. It's a beautiful plant that's strong enough to grow and climb in Kuwait. It does need a lot of trimming though. So if you have fun during the first season and it grows all out and gives you the beautiful blooms and the paper flowers are set and done, I remind everyone that you need to cut it back to certain sticks for it to regrow again. And it's super easy to grow. You don't need even a big garden. You just need a good pot for it and inconsistent watering. Kuwait has 8 months of beautiful sun and a seasonal environment. Most of the tropical world grows here. Stay away from anything that needs winters or dormancies, like some certain apples or some sakuras that need actually dormancy and below zero temperature. Other than that, most of the plants in the world actually love Kuwait, so choose your plants wisely based on what you like. And I remind you again to, if you have no experience, check out where you live. Go out to your area, walk around and see the gardens and talk to the gardeners around you. You will find plants that pull you in and they are surviving there as a first step for you before you move on and introduce your own kind of plants within your community. One of the very important things that you should look to in your location is the solstice of the sun. The sun rises differently in the summer than the winter. So our location, our sun rises behind the house and in the midst of winter. But in summer, it goes above the house and the other way. So that tells me which plants I should put in for summer and which plants I should put which will get winter sun. And that will make you a beautiful seasonal garden. Stay away from thinking that one garden can stay the same all year long. Your garden is a life that evolves within the seasons, and every season you should aim to have something beautiful or a corner that's beautiful. It's extremely hard in our extreme environment to have something stable other than fake plants, but with real plants you get something much better, but it needs you time for you to learn it.